Hi, this is Linda with a new video talking in American English, lesson 27. Before I start the lesson, however, I have to say this. I don't live in a bubble. I know what's going on in the world, and I know what America is doing, and I am sad about it and unhappy about what's going on with the immigration and what is going on with the tariffs. So this is my message to you. I am sorry. I apologize. As an American, I will do what I can to inform my government of just how unhappy I am, and I hope that I, along with many other Americans who speak up, can make a difference. But I wanted you to know that even though I'm doing the lessons the normal way, I still realize that things are not going well in many parts of the world, and it's hurting Americans also, both with immigration and with the tariffs. So I will pray that things will get better and that there will be peace between our countries and that we will be helping each other, not fighting each other. So with that, I want to go on with our lesson. This is the first half of the lesson, that one and that one. That's about something to help beginners. This one and this one is not a hard lesson, but it's a little more about grammar and pronunciation and understanding the language. So I'm going to take each one down one at a time, put it up close, and we'll talk about just that. The just for beginner part, but others may find it helpful too, is an idea of some things you just need to memorize and be ready to say quickly. There are other things you can say, but if you have these, you'll be able to communicate. Everyone, I think, by now knows that we say hello when we meet someone, but sometimes we either add or use this instead. Good morning. We say good morning from the time we get up until it's noontime, before noon. Good morning. Or if it's between noon and the time it starts getting dark, or the time that you would have dinner, during that time, we say good afternoon. Sometimes we check our watch. Do I say good morning or good afternoon? Oh, good afternoon. And that's from noon to dark or dinner. And then after that, we say good evening if we're seeing someone between the time that it's getting dark or dinner and the time we go to bed. So we would say good evening. It's still a greeting like hello. I'll talk about good night in a minute, but this is not a greeting. These are greetings. Good night is not a greeting. Now, a very formal statement after the greeting would be, how do you do? That's very formal, and it's sort of going out of style, but in a really formal situation, sometimes people say, how do you do? More often, in the normal way to say it is, how are you? And then if you get into the casual slang, there are hundreds of other things you could say, but these are safe to say, how are you? Then the answer, we don't really expect you to tell us if you're sick and all those kinds of things. Your normal response is, I'm fine, or I'm okay. And then we say, thank you, and you. And then the other person says, I'm fine, thanks. That's the normal conversation, but there are other little things people substitute, but that's basically what you can say. After you've visited and you're about to separate, you would say goodbye or bye. Now, if it is the end of the day, it's already nighttime, probably each person is going to go to his or her home and go to sleep. We would say good night. It's another way of saying goodbye, and it is for late in the day, very late. And sometimes we add a phrase like see you later, see you soon, see you next time. See you later is the best one to memorize. And the other person says, okay, bye, or any other goodbyes. Have a nice day, or have a good day. You too. And they separate. Now that is a greeting and a goodbye that if you know these, you'll be able to communicate very well in those ways. Now I'm going to go to the next one. This is the second page. when you meet someone for the first time, you usually want to know the name. So I'll make it very simple. My name is Linda, or my name's Linda. What's your name? Or what is your name? And the person gives that person's name. And then we might do the how are you and all that we learned before. But after you meet someone, it's often good to say, it's a pleasure to meet you, or I'm happy to meet you, or it's good to meet you, or the shorter form, good to meet you. So after you get the names, you can say, good to meet you. And then let's say many days later, you see them again. You're not going to say, it's a pleasure to meet you. You say, it's good to see you. Good to see you, the shorter form. It's good to see you again. It's so good to see you again. That's our greeting. We don't need to know the name again. We just want to say, hi, it's good to see you. It's good to see you again. I'm so happy to see you again. Something like that. Now, we could say, how are you? Like we did the first time. But many times we'll say, how have you been? Or how have you been doing? Meaning, I know how you were when I first met you. What's happened since then? How have you been doing? How have you been? And then the answer is the typical fine or very well, thank you, and you. But how have you been and how have you been doing is a good substitute for how are you when you meet someone again. Okay, those are my hints for beginner students, and I will have more of these in the next lesson before I go to the main lesson. Now we'll move to the main lesson. Okay, now we're going to talk about going to and how to use it correctly and what it means. Now, going to basically has two meanings. If it's followed by a noun, it means moving in the direction toward something. If it's followed by a verb, it means moving in time toward that action. You may not physically move at all, but you're looking forward to an action in the future. So it could be you're going to a place now, or you're going to do something in the future. So let's look at some examples. I am going to the library. Now you might say, I am going to the library later, but I added the later, and really that's cheating, because what you're really saying is I'm going to go to the library later. We just cheated and just put in one go word. You are going shopping. That's what you're doing now. You're moving toward the store to go shopping. You're moving in a direction. Okay. He or she or it is going to bed. We're moving in that direction toward the bed. He is going to bed. She is going to bed. It is going to bed. It's the direction they're going. Now, if we wanted to talk about both future and where they're going, we might say he is going to go to bed. You put both goes in there. But he is going to bed means right now he's moving in that direction. If I'm talking about he may do it a little bit later, he is going to go to bed. You can do that. But for these, we just want to say where they're going. And they're doing that now. He is going to bed. She is going to bed. It is going to bed. We are going to a movie. They are going to a movie. They're moving in that direction. Now, if we're talking about in the future, they're going to that place, we can combine them and say, we are going to go to a movie. But the way it's phrased here, you're actually moving in that direction right now. Now, if we put a verb after it, it means we are looking forward to the future. I am going to read a book. I'm not reading it yet. I'm going to read it in the future. So going to plus a verb talks about the future. Gonna is often substituted for this going to. It is never substituted for this going to. We don't say, I gonna the park, or I'm gonna the park. We don't say that. Okay, but down here we might say, I am gonna read a book. We use gonna when it's a future, but not when it's direction towards something right now. And it points to an action in the future when you put the verb, whether we say going to or our slang word gonna. We don't write gonna, but we say gonna all the time, but it's this going to, not this one. I am going to read a book, or I'm going to read a book. We are going to walk to the store, or we are going to walk to the store. And it's always in the future that's happening. He is going to eat a snack. He's not eating yet, but he's going to. He is going to eat a snack. She is going to eat a snack. She is going to eat a snack. It is going to eat a snack. It is going to eat a snack. Either way. Still talking about the future. They are going to finish the job. We haven't finished yet, but we will finish. We are going to finish. We're gonna finish. They are going to finish. They're gonna finish. I went ahead and switched to gonna. I'm gonna draw a picture. And that's probably what I would say. If I were going to write it down, I would say, I'm going to draw a picture. I wouldn't write that, but I would say it. He's, such as he is, she's, she is, it is gonna take a nap. Any of these are going to take a nap. You are contracted to your, we are contracted to we're, they are contracted to they're gonna or going to play ball. These are actions, so we can use gonna for going to if we want to. Talking only. I am going to the library. Notice there's a star by that referring to this one. I am going to the library later. That's the one I'm talking about. That's cheating. I'm going to go to the library later. It's what you really technically are saying. Now, the other point I want to make about this is will. Will is what we normally use for future. I will go to the library. Any of these, I will read a book. You will walk. He or she or it will eat. They will finish. I will draw. He or she or it will take. You or we or they will play. This is a logical way to say it, I will. But we like to say going to for some reason. So either will or going to will work. So notice this sign, future normally uses will in place of the helper plus going to that I use some here. And you can do that. And if you're more comfortable with that, use it all the time. Just know Americans are going to use the going to. Gonna use the going to. I will go home. I am going to go home. And any of these will work if you switch them. Okay, last one coming up. Okay, if you were in my class, you'll see this conversation is a little bit different. I adjusted it a little bit before I did the video, but you've seen this if you're in my class. Two people are talking, two women. By the way, if there's one woman, it's woman. If there are two or more, it's women. It's not spelled that way. We pronounce it that way so we can tell the difference between one or more than one. Woman, women, women. So two women are talking. Heidi and Jenny are their names. Heidi says, hello, Jenny. Good morning. How have you been? They already know each other, of course. Jenny says, I'm fine, Heidi. How have you been doing? Or they could both say, how are you? It's okay. Heidi says, fine, thanks. Where are you going? Jenny says, I'm going to the bank this morning. I am going to go shopping this afternoon. Heidi says, What are you gonna buy? Got that gonna in there. Ginny says, I am going to, or I am going to go to a party tonight. So I'm going to buy a new dress. Heidi says, everyone who is going to the party. Now that's stretching out the is going to include all the way up to when the party starts. Everyone who's going to the party is gonna love your new dress, I'm sure. Ginny says, thanks. I'm gonna go now. Bye. Heidi says, bye, Ginny. See you later. Have a nice day. Ginny, you too. Okay, so I tried to use from both sections of the lesson in the conversation. I hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.